Today we're speedrunning Tasty Planet Back for Seconds, a game about eating everything in sight. Now our speedrun starts once we go into our first level, and right away we want to go for these little candies. They're all different colors, and we're gonna have to eat them in order to get bigger and be able to eat other things. So we'll just be going throughout the entire map. There are frogs and stuff. In general, any animals that are coming through that are bigger than us, we're gonna want to dodge. Because if we don't dodge them, then they might be able to damage us, but now we're up to battery size, so we can start eating those too. And yeah, in general, our little guy is just going through doing his thing. Oh, by the way, the story for this game is basically a scientist has been experimenting with nanotechnology and created us. Then the other scientist gives us candy and we go from there. But now we're on to the second level. We're going to be going for even bigger things like the frogs that are now on the map. I'm not sure why they have so many frogs and rats just walking through everywhere. I mean, to be fair, they are scientists, so maybe they're using them for something, but we're now up to mouse size as well. And yeah, we're just taking the bigger and bigger things. Even that bigger mouse, he is no match for us, so we're just able to destroy him. There's going to be these petri dishes which have something in them, and at this point we're almost up to the size we need for this level. We'll just grab a few more people, and finally with that last candy, that's going to be the second level done. Now on to number 3. There's going to be a bunch of rats, and they're going to be our main thing we have to eat, but there are also going to be cats that are chasing after us. The cats can also steal our prey, so in general we just want to stay away from them and eat other things if we're able to. There is going to be our first one, and anytime we get hit by one of those cats, we will lose some of our size, so it's best to stay away from them. These cats are very persistent though. They're not as fast as us, so that is nice, but they're definitely trying to go after us. I love how the lab rats are just going in straight lines too, just following each other one after another. But we're up to eating things like microscopes, and soon we're also going to be able to eat those cats. Oh, and that's actually right there. Their names are Captain Paws. That's actually adorable. Not adorable enough for me not to eat. Oh, and there are actually different names for the different cats. I've never noticed that before, but that's going to be that level. Then we're back to a smaller size where we just have a bunch of candy we have to deal with. You've already seen this for the most part, so I'll let you know once we get bigger. And that's going to be right here. As you can see, we have now expanded our view. Instead of it just being separate levels, we're able to go from one level to the next. So there's much more stuff we can deal with, and we are getting through this pretty quickly. Luckily, a lot of these batteries and stuff are in small collections and right by each other, so we're able to gain some size really quickly from stuff like that. And just a little bit bigger, and we should be able to leave the table. And now there are going to be the humans that are like, all right, we got to stop this guy. I don't know why they didn't try earlier. I am definitely not a creature to be messed with. They should have assumed that eventually I'd be coming for them. But right now I'm just going for all their paper that they're leaving on the floor. These are the worst scientists I've ever seen. I get your table being kind of messy, but the floors, there should not be this many paper. What are the cats doing over there? That one was Sir Kisses. That one's Muffins. Maybe it's just take your pet to work day and that's why there are so many cats, but it seems like the worst time for them to do that. Now we just got to finish out by heading up here, grabbing the time machine, and we're going to go back in time. So yeah, this is a completely different time, and right away we're going to want to go for these rocks, but there are going to be a lot of insects that are also coming through, and of course we will be eating those as soon as possible. The first ones we can eat are, I don't even know how to say that name, aphid. I'm not the greatest person when it comes to pronouncing things, as many people have told me, but we can finally eat that stick along with those termites, and our boy gaining some size pretty quickly. There are some terrifying creatures though, like that ant. I do not want to see that guy ever again. I mean, eventually he will be in our mouth, so at least there's that. But we have now gained a bigger view, and there's going to be these pebbles that we can grab as well. Nice easy source of food whenever we're able to get them. And thankfully, one thing about this level is at least nothing is chasing after us. Pretty much everything is just doing its own thing. They're not worrying about the weird gray goo that's just going all around, but they should be, because as they're letting me get bigger, I'm just going to start eating more and more of them. We can finally start getting these snails, and I really like the music for this level. Some of the Tasty Planet music isn't the greatest, but this one, it's kind of chill. I'm enjoying the vibe. Oh, finally, also we can get these larvae, which is going to increase our vision even more. Now we're starting to see some rats. I'm not sure why once we went in the time machine we became smaller again, but hey, that's not too much of a problem. We will start eating all of these grasshoppers, and we're starting to see these mushrooms. They are a nice source of food for us, along with these eggs. A nice thing about this game is your growth is exponential, so it starts out kind of slow, but as you get bigger, you're just able to eat more and more, and you're able to eat things much faster. So for most of these levels, they go faster as we go on. Now we're going for all the butterflies. There are different colors of them, and also these mushrooms. Those are gigantic, along with that dragonfly, and I think it should be about done with that feather. Next up, we are seeing a bunch of bones that are just laying on the ground. I'm sure people would love to see these. We're literally ruining this for future scientists because we did go 65 million years in the past, and now archaeologists are never going to be able to find these bones. But to be fair, I'm not sure if the planet's even going to exist after I'm done with it, because in this game, we're definitely going to just get bigger. But in general, for this level, we just want to go from the smaller parts of the bones onto the bigger ones alphadons as we can, and there will also be some flowers and stuff that we want to take too. But things like the heads, we're not big enough just yet to take, so we'll just take the bones around them, and there's going to be our first head. Now we also get the bigger view, which means we can eat much more, along with these ferns, which those are a great source of food for us. I just love all these dinosaur bones that are just chilling there. Like this guy, such an easy meal for ourselves. And we're finally moving on to the moment where we're starting to be able to get some heads. By the way, if anyone recognizes what dinosaurs these are supposed to be, let me know in the comments. And while you're down there, also subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I'd really appreciate it. Anyways, on to our last few of these heads. We're looking for that one, and that will be another level. So still in dinosaur land, and we're back to being a little bit smaller this time. And like in the scientist lab, you've already seen this, so we'll skip ahead. And we'll get over to here, where eventually we become big enough to where we can start seeing literal dinosaurs coming around, and some of them are trying to eat us. There are also going to be these turtles. I feel so bad about taking them out. They're so adorable. But I gotta do what I gotta do and able to gain size, so I will take those. Oh, what is the name of that? Yeah, I'm just gonna call them turtles. I'm not even gonna try for that one. But I love the dinosaurs that they're taking this pre-established road instead of going on the grass. Some of them obviously are around here, some of them chasing after us, but those guys, they're literally just following traffic laws. And we can also take on our first dinosaur right there, while this green one is just going after me. Move over, dude. But we're getting the Bamboraptor. And like usual, very soon we should be able to deal with all these other dinosaurs. Some of them are just eating bushes, and I'm trying to take them out along with their bushes, so that will be happening soon. But before that, we're now a little bit bigger, so we can take out some of those dinosaur bones. And yeah, now we're getting those guys too. It feels so good when you're in a view like this. When you really can't get too much bigger, you're able to start eating even new things that before would only damage you. And look at this big guy. I love him with his huge neck. He's adorable. Won't stop me from killing him very, very soon, but you know, he's adorable. We'll appreciate him while we can. We are about at the moment where we'll finish up. We just have to take out a couple more of these dinos. I believe with that guy, that should be enough, and we're on to the next level, which in this one, I actually really like, because it starts out with us having to cross this ocean, and there are going to be all these lilies on these lily pads that we get to eat. It's kind of fun, you know, you have to take a bit of a maze over here, but it's not too complicated of a maze. And finally, we'll make it to the other side of this island, and we can start taking on some rocks, along with there being these alphadons, which we can eat as well. I don't know, it's a small thing, but I think the start just makes this level very interesting. At least it makes it more memorable. It is a little slow at the beginning for this level until finally we can start taking some of these sticks. That's definitely going to increase our size, and even more so once we can start going for the turtles. Still feel terrible about taking them out, but I can't stop our little guy. And now we have an even wider view where, what is that guy? He is absolutely terrifying. Kind of looks like an alligator. I really wish I knew more dinosaur names, because it would be really interesting to see what they added into this game, but I guarantee someone in the comments has me. Anyways, there are going to be these eggs. Those are gigantic eggs. I don't even want to know what laid those guys, and hopefully they will never find me as well, because they would probably not be too happy about me eating their entire family. I mean, pretty soon they're not going to be able to stop me, because we are getting bigger than everything. But I do love these ferns and rocks, because they're always going to be in the exact same places, so you don't have to go looking for them like you sometimes do for the dinosaurs. Since this is a speed run, we can already have an idea of where we have to go for certain things, take those out, and now we can get those guys. So the alligator guys are now our food as well, along with the rest of these bushes. And finally, that's gonna end off that one. Now it's time to eat 110 eggs. That's the point of this level. But before we're able to eat any eggs, we do have to eat some flowers in order to get big enough to actually eat them. So thankfully, there's just a ton of flowers on the floor and a few dinosaurs going through, but I'm not too worried about them. And finally, once you've eaten enough of the flowers, your view is going to expand. They are going to be protected by dinosaurs, but to be honest, these dinos are kind of terrible at protecting their young. Like, I'm just coming through. I don't even worry about it. And I might as well eat some other dinos on the way. We will expand our view even more with that dino eat. And now we can just go through taking all the eggs we want. I really don't know why they think this is a good way of protecting them. Like, you're literally just walking around in circles. Maybe try to eat me or something, but I guess that's too much work. And we finish out all the eggs. Now we're back to another one of these regular dino levels, but this level is nice because we get to grow bigger than ever before. You see, we now get another expanded view, and we can see these really long boys going eating their bushes, and we will very quickly be coming for them. I mean, first of all, I'm just going to take their bushes away from them. There was literally a guy eating that, and I just steal it right out from under him. I kind of feel bad about that one, but I feel even worse by just taking their lives as well. Hey, our little goo creature has to do what he's got to do. And like usual with this game, it really starts getting faster once you get into this bigger view. We can also now start to see lava. We won't be able to eat the lava just yet, but in the future, we definitely will be able to. But what I like to do is take the left side of this area first, get a couple of those dinos, and then head over to the right through these trees. Eventually, we'll see that bush, which we can take. And from there are going to be multiple multiple bushes that we can just go for until we start just doing an up and down pattern. This is going to get us all the bigness we need, and we can finish it out. Now onto the next level. There's going to be a T-Rex that is chasing after us, and the main objective for this one is going to be to eat him eventually. And I mean, it doesn't just stop at one. There are multiple T-Rexes. I don't know why they're going after me. There are plenty of dinosaurs around. Why not go for them? But they are also very slow, as you can see by me getting away from them. And sometimes they will find us again, but it really isn't too much of a problem. I love how these guys think they can do anything. Maybe these are their friends, and I'm just eating their friends one by one, and they're like, dude, please stop. All right, we all get along. We actually all eat vegetation, and you're just ruining this entire thing. Meanwhile, I don't say anything to them. I just keep consuming. Finally, though, we can start going for the trees, and there's gonna be our first T-Rex. There's the second one, and already the level is done. Next up is the bone maze. This might be my least favorite level in this game, and that's because you just have to do things in a very specific order, and if you mess anything up, you're gonna lose a bit of time. So first of all, we get those bones that I grabbed, then we're gonna grab those as well, but we can't go into that section with all those bones just sitting there. We now have to go back because there's going to be this new path that we can open up. We can also take these heads, and yeah, there's literally just one way that you can actually do this level, and if you do it wrong, things do not go well for you. But we're gonna be heading back up here. You can see that we can now eat that bone, and that's gonna give us a good amount of size once we eat all that stuff. And now some of these bigger bones we can eat as well, so I will take a few of these, which is very nice, but only some of them are small enough for us to eat. There's still a lot that we're just not able to yet. We can finish out this section pretty well though, so I will take care of that. And then we need to go back up, take those 2 bones, and from there we can now open up a brand new path and go from here. For this one, I want to go all the way up here until we can find these couple of bones. I will take those, and you can just see how long we have to go without eating. It's kind of sad, but finally we'll eat those guys, get a couple more bones in there. Again, the game is punishing us. Like, game, I just want to consume. I don't want to figure out these puzzles. What are you talking about? But these faces should be next. We can take that as well. There's a nice pile of bones there, and finally things are starting to get a bit better. Soon we can just eat every single one of these bones. It's just the process to get there, but that process is about over. There we go. So many more of these bones are now open to us, and yeah, there are a couple of these bigger bones. They're still a bit too big for us, but in general we can take the stuff by them and just keep consuming. The maze is so much better once you finally get to this part because, I mean, you stop it from being a maze. Still, there is a ton more of the level we actually have to do, so I will eat these couple of things, get a few more bones, and then once we eat this head, we now see that we're inside a bigger skeleton, and we got to go for that guy. So yeah, the entire time there are so many bones. I don't even know how there are that many bones. Like, that is some very preserved fossils that are now never going to get to be seen by archaeologists again, but we'll finish out there. Now at this point, we're on to the very last section of the dinosaur land, so we'll get to work up from the very bottom all the way to the top. But after about 5 minutes of playing, we're back into this section where you see the lava going down and all the trees. But this time around, once we eat enough of these trees, we're now going to get a bigger view and we can just start destroying them. Like, we get so much food out of these guys, we can just go back and forth a few times. That way we gain size extremely quickly until finally it's now time to eat the lava. Yeah, we could literally just eat lava. I don't know how it's possible, but I guess it's Tasty Planet back for seconds, so that's all the explanation you need. And we'll grow in size again, see even bigger trails of lava. Make sure we take that too, going down all the different paths that we need to for that before an even bigger one. Yeah, I'm just pretty much repeating myself at this point, but we grow one more time until we can finally see this whole volcano. Now, along with this lava, we're also going to want to take some rocks as we see them because that's a good amount of size, and together this is going to gain us size extremely quickly. It's actually insane, and we're just going all around the volcano until we can finally eat it as well. So we'll take a few more of those out until we can see right there, and that'll finish out the level, where this time around our little goo guy actually ate the comet that killed the meteors, so dinosaurs never went extinct. And now we're gonna fast forward a little bit in time until we get to ancient Egypt. Now, for some reason we become small again, but that doesn't matter to us because our only importance in life is to eat. So here there's gonna be a couple of these scarabs, rings, all that kind of stuff that we're gonna have to go forward and eat. And yeah, for this one, I just in general like going around in a circle, eating bigger things as we get bigger ourselves. Like these earrings, they used to be a little bit too big for us, but now we can just consume them all we want to. And of course, once we get even bigger, we get a larger view of the world and we can start seeing some of these things, like the Egyptian masks that are just standing there. Those are definitely definitely interesting. But same general game plan. We're just going through, eating everything they have, until finally we're able to get off the table. And now there are going to be a bunch of people walking around. You already know I'm definitely coming for them soon. You know, thinking about it, we actually haven't killed a single person in this run yet. Don't worry, that's going to change very soon. But just like the scientist lab at the beginning, these people are completely messy, just leaving things all over the floor. Like, what is this papyrus doing there? Still, I mean, it works out for me because that's plenty to eat, and we can start also eating the people along with their cats, which I always feel bad about the cats. But if they didn't want to be eaten, they shouldn't be walking around. Like, they should probably be running away from me. I'm actually a monster, and that's going to be that level. Next up, we are a much bigger person. So right away, we're starting out with huge things like collars, spears, and there are also going to be these gigantic snakes that are crawling around. I don't know if that's exactly how snakes move, but I mean, they're doing something. Before too long, we can take all these people as well, get a bigger view of the world, and these snakes are gigantic. They're as big as the humans, even bigger than the humans. I would be terrified if I was walking around here. You people need to run. If not from me, then definitely the snakes. But finally, we can start eating them as well. We don't even have to become that big. And you know, they got the nice hissing as we take them down. But from here, it's one of these levels where we just have to wait for people to spawn. So we're just going to go in a circle. And then eventually, after taking a good amount of time, that's all the snakes. Now we got a bunch of mummies that we have to consume. But like with one of the previous levels, we got to eat stuff before we get to the mummies. So there's going to be these collars and spears around that we can take out. Also, sometimes you want to eat the spears that the mummies are holding. It's not too important, but it can give us some extra size, so it's sometimes worth it. If they're in too difficult of spaces, I don't really worry about it. But if I'm already in the location, might as well get one. And there we go. We can finally start eating the mummies. And for this level, we just have to eat a total of 98. So I'm just going to go around in a circle. The map for this level isn't too big at all, so I will just go over here. We'll make sure we get the left side of the map first. That way we don't miss anything. Then we can come to the upper right, take out a few of these guys. I don't know why they're laying like they are. Like, why were they in that circle? That was a little weird. And they have these different patterns. What are these people burying them like? I mean, maybe it makes sense. Maybe there's some sort of reason, but they are eaten. Now we are huge. So we're starting out right away where we can just eat people. And thankfully for us, these people are just walking in straight lines. I don't know why. I definitely couldn't tell you, but they're all just following one after the other. And even if they hear the screams of their fellow people, they don't care. So we're going to take a couple of these lines of people first, just make sure we can get a few good eats. And then we can come over here where we're going to see these horses and eat them as well. After dealing with a few of those though, we'll get back into one of these people lines. They really do not care. They're seeing them get eaten and they're not even turning around. But with a few more of those guys, we can focus on some more horses before also getting these Watusi. And along with those guys, there's going to be these stone blocks that are just sitting there, perfect for consuming. Now the name of this level is hippos, and as you can see, there are plenty of hippos for us to take out. And once we get this bigger view, it's going to be even easier for us. There are going to be these horse lines. There's just a bunch of animals on these carpets for some reason, and I don't care. I'm going to take them all. I mean, I appreciate it. Thank you for being in such a convenient spot for me. I can literally just go up and down a few times and you're all eaten. Especially this one. It is huge. There's just so many of these guys, and it is perfect eating for ourselves. Now we're almost to the spot where we can start eating some buildings. We just have to take out a couple of these trees, then come up here, and here we go. There are going to be all these houses, and they're going down. The house eating sound effect is so satisfying, by the way. I love hearing it. But yeah, we're just going to go through taking as many houses as possible, along with some bushes whenever we see them. Even though their sound effect isn't nearly as good, I'm still going to take them, and we should be able to finish out with just a few more of those guys, so that's the level. Next up, it's time to eat some cats. So you got the small cats and you got the big cats. I don't think the big cats are even protecting the small cats. They're just all kind of running around. But yeah, we just have to go after these poor kitty cats, hear their meows as they die. I'm so sorry, guys. But I am speedrunning, and I'm trying to make our goo guy much bigger, so you got to do what you got to do. But finally, at least we can go for the bigger cats. You know, pick on someone your own size, I guess. We're doing that at least. Some of the meow sound effects they used for this are so sad. You can just hear the cat's heartbroken. But we will expand our view eventually and see a bunch more cats. I don't know what all these guys are doing just walking around the place, especially because they're all the exact same kind of cat. So that's a little interesting. Maybe they have a cloning machine or something. For this level, we'll grab plenty of them though. And then we can also get these statues, which that's going to be some good eating before we just have to eat a few more of these cats. And then we can also get the Sphinxes, which are a huge amount of size for us. I'm gonna head down here. That's going to make our view bigger. And we can see all these Sphinx statues that are just all in circles. Kind of terrifying. So I gotta eat them. We'll go from the smaller ones onto the bigger sections of them. Along with that, there's sometimes going to be these palm trees, which we can take on our way to and get an even bigger view where we see more of them. It's always crazy having this game zoom out on you because you think for sure these must be the biggest statues, and then they make ones that are like 2 times bigger. In general though, for this level, we just want to hit all the corners of this map, making sure we get rid of all the sphinxes. And finally, once we gain enough size, we can get that huge one at the bottom. Okay, it is now time for one of the hardest maps in this game. This is the cow crossing one, where you have all these cows coming through, and if any of them hit you, you're gonna lose size. Meanwhile, we have to grab all of this different stuff, so there's so much to worry about, especially when you're going fast. Like, I'm trying to dodge these cows, but they're all over the place. Sometimes you'll get big open areas like this, but those times are not very plentiful, because you get other times where just look at how many cows there are, and the controls are also a little bit finicky, so it's easier said than done to not run into these cows. Like, look at these guys. What am I supposed to do here? After getting a bit of size from the middle though, I then like making my way over towards the right. You know, if I can, trying my best not to get hit by this stuff. Why are there so many? But the nice thing about the right area is there's no cows over here and so much stuff we can take. So we only have to get a bit bigger before we can finally eat these guys. Please, game. There we go. Now they're finally the ones that have to run from me. Yeah, this level is just exhausting until you finally get to this point. But once you do get over here, it's pretty much just eat all you want. Yeah, there's no getting bigger at all. We just take as many cows as we want, and we're on to the next, which is horses, which means we're going straight from cows to horses. I love horses, so I feel bad about this one, but we got these really small horses along with the bigger ones that are just walking through. Don't worry, big guys, I'll be coming for you soon. I love the animations in this game. They're so simple. Like, this horse does not look like the smartest guy in the world. At least they're smart enough to try to get away from us, but every time they try to run away, they literally just stand still and slowly rotate. It's kind of hilarious. Anyways, we're on to the bigger view now. We see all these bigger horses, so we're able to take them out one by one. Eventually, after a ton of horse eating though, we can eat one of those trees, and that's going to finish that level out. Now, next up, we are on an island that is completely covered in hippos, and that's all it is. Thankfully, we start out pretty big right away, so we can eat them extremely quickly. But yeah, just like the last level, you have the small hippos, you got the big ones, and you just got to work your way up. Oh, and that is going to be our first big hippo. Now we can start going for these guys and also gain some size. Now, this level is kind of annoying because some of these hippos just take forever to get back on the island. So right away, there's just tons of hippos we can eat. They're all the way throughout the island, so that is very nice. But you can see just how slowly they're moving, and we kind of have to wait for them a lot of these times. At least there are also going to be these palm trees that come in, so that will be helpful too. But yeah, like many of these hippos, they're just starting to get back on the island. Hurry up, guys. I'm trying to eat. So general plan, like a lot of this game, is just go in circles around the island. We can get 2 of them right there, move on to our next one. That's going to be a nice 3, and finish out with just a few more of these hippos right there. Next up, we're going to start in this area where there are all these rats and some cats chasing after us. The game really likes having cats chase after us. To be fair, I kind of deserve it because I have eaten so many cats in some of these levels. But yeah, the cats are also going to try to eat the rats. So they are very annoying because there's actually a ton of cats in this level. So I'm just trying my best to beat them to the rats while also not getting hit by them myself. This level can go very well or very badly. We just got to play the best we can. Finally, it is cat eating time though, so we no longer have to worry about them being our predators, but there are going to be some more guys trying to eat the cats. Yeah, there's always another predator we have to deal with, but the good thing is soon we'll be bigger than everybody else, so we'll no longer have to worry about them. And those guys are actually going to be jackals, my favorite animal, by the way. I did not recognize they were jackals at first, I'm not going to lie, but just look at them as we eat them, and they kind of like woof as they die. I'm sorry, jackals. I love you so much. After eating a few of the jackals, though, we get yet another bigger area, and there are going to be these alligators that are now coming after us. What is with this island? Why are there so many people just out in the open? And it's just constant eating. It is kind of insane. But after a bit, we got those statues. That's going to give us some good height as well. And now we can also go for the alligators, which I guess they're actually crocodiles. My bad. But still, we're eating the bigger things that used to try to eat us. And that's going to be our last crocodile right there, ending off the level. Now it's finally time for the last level of Egypt. So like usual, we'll skip through the parts you've already seen. Finally, after eating enough of those buildings, we now see entire neighborhoods that we're just taking out in a second. We eat that statue, and now we are just absolutely gigantic. We can start going for these pyramids, which is actually insane. Like, just think about it. In less than 5 minutes, we went from somebody who's smaller than a bug to someone who's eating pyramids. But yeah, we'll just gain up size until we eat the final one, and then the scientists start talking about how we must have eaten the pyramids, and they're also very confused on about how time travel works. Anyways, it is now time for the Rome levels, and right away it's going to start out with these raisins we want to get, followed by these green grapes. So yeah, like in a lot of these levels, we just start out with some very small food we have to eat, and we'll just go from one to the next until we get a little bit bigger and we're starting to see the area. And yet again, it starts us out on a table. I'm not sure why we always start out directly on a table. Like, there are other places to start out, but I mean, I guess it works. It is an easy way to transition as well to other places. But we'll finish out by eating a few of these fish, and that's going to be the first level of Rome. Next up, it's going to start us again by eating some grapes. But in this level, we just want to be extremely fast, because before too long, some rats are going to come through and they're going to try to eat our food. So we want to eat as much of it as possible in these big groups before the rats get over here and start ruining stuff. You can see that they're finally starting to come, and we're a pretty good amount done with this level, but they are trying to destroy my food. They really want to eat as much as possible. I kind of want to eat them, if I'm not going to lie, but we're going to go through that. We can get some oysters too, and there we go. That's going to be the rats, and we'll finish out with another oyster. Then in this next one, we have to eat people who are wearing togas. Yeah, that's the entire point of this level. That's literally what they start out with. So we're just going around in this main square and eating people. I don't think there's much commentary you can give on this level. We are literally just going for them. I mean, I like how there are two different colors of togas. I guess that's cool, but it's just one of these levels where we have to eat enough people. This one is going to be 100, and before very long whatsoever, we get it done. Then we have the shopping spree level where there are going to be these guards coming after us, and I'm actually forgetting where I have to go. Okay, it's over here. Yeah, we have to go to the top left where there are going to be a couple fish, and then we can also take this bread. Now that's going to make us more than big enough to start dealing with the people. Yeah, not my greatest start to a level, but still not that bad. And we can also go for these soldiers, which at first were coming for us, but now they cannot do very much to us at all. Gotta love how they call this level a shopping spree. More like an all-you-can-eat buffet. But we do gain this size. Now we can start going for these statues, but there are also going to be these arrows that are coming through and trying to hit us. Those, of course, like most dangerous things, will make us lose some size. So if I can, I am going to try to dodge them. For this level, though, pretty simple stuff, and we can actually start eating those ballistas, so that's nice too. We don't even have to deal with them trying to hit us because they no longer can. They're dead. And now we can go to the center, get a couple of these tables, get an even bigger view, and see that there are just tons of ballistas all over the place. I'm not sure why this city does this. I feel like this is going to kill a lot of people. Like, imagine just trying to walk to the market and there's just gigantic arrows shooting at you constantly. That's the society they set up. So I guess enjoy it, Rome. Well, for however long you can, because now we're going for the Roman houses. Not too many we actually have to take out before we finish that level. Now in this next one, it's all about fish. So we're just gonna follow this line of fish over to the right first, before now we can start seeing some humans and some lions. The lion did eat some of my fish, which was rude, so we're gonna have to get our revenge. But before we get to him, we can start dealing with these gladiators. Yeah, the gladiators in this game, they don't really care to fight. They just kind of run away and walk past each other, so it's definitely an interesting Coliseum. And soon we get this bigger view. We're also in the Coliseum. There are arrows shooting out again. They really love using those in the Roman area. Like, there are so many in so many different places too. And now we're also starting to see the lions. Oh yeah, by the way, anytime these arrows hit anybody, including the lions or the humans, they're just going to die. So it does kind of suck for us because sometimes they could have been my food, but then they end up getting shot. We finally eaten enough humans though, so now we can go for the lions too, which these, by the way, are gigantic lions. I feel like lions should not be that much bigger than the humans. Do the gladiators even have a shot against these lions? I feel like they don't. But I guess to the same point, the lions never had a shot against me, so it's just kind of how it goes. And also, finally, we can start taking out these ballistas on the edge of the map as well. That's going to give us a good amount of size. And I believe with that one, it should be enough to take us to the end of the level. Next up, it is fish time again. And for this one, I just like going in a circle as we slowly get more and more of these fish, because this is one of the levels where eventually there are going to be some predators that try to take your food. For this one, it's going to be lions, so they're going to slowly try to take some of my fish, and I don't really like that. So once I see them over to the left, it's time to mostly focus on the right. They're only going to be at the left for a good amount of time, so I just don't have to worry about them while we're able to get a ton of size. You can see we're almost done with the level already, and now we can start taking out the lions too. They are good because they give us a huge amount of food, and that was a very easy level. Then on to our next level. We got ballistas coming through. We got a bunch of people trying to attack us, and we got many humans that we have to eat. Now, the thing about this level is you always just want to stay over towards the top of the map. That's because that's where all the humans are going to come from. So yeah, I'm just going to stay stay up here for the most part, take out humans one by one, and overall, not the most interesting level. Now finally, after a very long level, we're done. And it is time for the last bit of Rome, where you already know the drill. Start out small, and I'll let you know when we get bigger. Now we're on to Roman houses, and here's where it finally starts getting interesting, where we get some new content. So this one, I'm basically just gonna go around in circles, taking on as many houses as possible, and getting a lot of sizes as we go. Just want to keep some pretty uniform lines going back and forth for the most part. That way we gain size as quickly as possible. And yeah, not the most interesting gameplay, but it is very satisfying gameplay because you just destroy everything in your way. Then after getting everything at the bottom of the map, we can start going a little bit higher and see there is an even bigger section now. So we're just going for all the houses and buildings around until finally we can also take the Coliseum, and somehow that prevents the fall of Rome. Yeah, since we ate the city, the citizens were forced to unite together and rebuild their civilization. And next up, we're heading to Feudal Japan. At the start of this level, we're going to be eating a lot of these grains of rice and honestly gaining size pretty quickly. I mean, I guess that mostly happens for these first levels in each of these areas. Then after those, we can also take some petals that are lying on the floor before seeing that there's a lot of objects that will injure us if we touch them, at least if we're not big enough to eat them. So these shurikens, before we're big enough, we want to make sure we don't touch them at all, and then afterwards we can go for them. That's the same for things like swords, all that sort of stuff. But now we're seeing some fish. There's also going to be some guards that are coming after us. Those guys are actually really persistent and really annoying because this dude is just following me all over the place, and he's also pretty fast too. But thankfully, as we get bigger, it looks like we're also getting faster, so we can escape them better, and that's going to be the level. Next up is the level Rice Mice, where we're starting out by eating rice again. Not too much to say about it, just going over towards big sections of them, trying to consume multiple at the same time, until finally some mice also start showing up, and they're going to try to eat the rice as well. So like usual with these kinds of levels, we want to avoid them and also avoid them eating too much of our food until finally we can start eating them as well. One of them actually escaped from me, that was too close. But yeah, very simple level. Then onto this next one, we're going to be eating a lot of people. So there's just all these people walking through like normal. And then in the middle, there's also going to be more people that are coming out of this tree. So a good strategy is just staying near the middle and taking as many people as possible because they come pretty quickly as well. Then there's also the people walking on the paths who eventually will make it to the middle. So yeah, in general, just stay by the middle. It's usually a good idea for this level. And that's all there is to it. It's literally just eating people. There's nothing else we even can eat for this level. Not the most exciting one. And we'll finish it up pretty quickly. Next up, we're in this garden area where we have all these petals. There's the shurikens on the ground, the statues, and again, we have people chasing after us. We're kind of starting out where we left off earlier in the game, but it's the same idea as last time. Just try to go fast and make it away from these people who are very quickly trying to pursue me. Eventually though, we will gain our view, and now there are a lot more statues we can take, as well as we can start eating some people. Like with a lot of these levels, I like going for statues more if we can find them, just because we always know they're going to be there. But on the other side, that means there's only a limited amount. Still, the statues will be helpful. Eating some people will as well. Then eventually we can start taking out the bigger statues too, which are nice because they're right by the trees. So I know exactly where all these are going to be, and they give us some good size. Then after those guys, we gain size again, and we can see even more statues. This is where this level actually starts getting fun, because pretty much it's just going around the map. There are some sections where there are tons of statues right next to each other, and then we can start going for trees too, which if you've been paying attention to this game at all, you know once we get to the tree section, things start really going crazy, because we're finally actually a pretty good size. We're gaining up height. Now we can start taking on the houses, and yeah, at this point, literally nothing can stop us. To be fair, I don't think there was ever anything that could stop us, but now for sure. And with a few buildings, that's the end. Now next up, this one is all just about taking on these statues, so we want to go for the smaller ones first until we get a little bit bigger, and yeah, eventually we will get the bigger size. And I don't know why they just left all these statues out. It's literally the only thing in this entire map, but it's very nice for me because that's a lot of things to eat. And we're just paying attention until finally we can get that outer wall of statues, so I'm gonna keep going, trying to get a few more, and there we go. We see our arrows now pointing towards them, so we can just do a circle around. And as you can see, then eventually we'll get the even bigger statues. We have this huge path we can take, and I'm gonna eat these all one by one through that line until we start going for these circles of statues. It's getting even bigger. You already know how this game works at this point. Still, even though it's the same formula, it's always very satisfying. I don't know, something about how this game works, just slowly getting bigger, being able to eat the things that in the past you weren't able to eat at all. It feels so good. But we're on to the petals level. There are going to be these cherry blossoms, there are going to be the petals, and we want to take them all. Just going up and down over to this left section, there's a lot of them because there's going to be this tree here. And now we're just going around the tree until we can finally eat it. Just got to eat up the petals around it, keep doing circles. And the petals will get more sparse as we go out, but since we're getting bigger, it doesn't really matter. Until finally we see our little guy has an arrow, and we can go over to the tree and eat it up. Now it's finally time for the level where we go through everything we already did, so you already know the drill. We're starting with rice and petals, and finally our new area is now seeing tons of houses, and there are also dinosaurs. If you remember, we actually made it so that the dinosaurs didn't go extinct. Yes, that is an actual plot point in this game. So we just got a dinosaur chasing after us while we're trying to eat all these houses. Now, thankfully for us, he is very slow. It's actually a little embarrassing, but we're trying to gain up just enough size until we can finally eat him. So I will keep going through. We can finally see our arrow, and that's going to be finishing out the level. Now in this comic, one of the scientists asks, why hasn't the goo grown big enough to eat the entire world? And the other one says that fortunately, every time it jumps through time, its size resets. But according to its next calculations, its next jump will be the last. So they got to start preparing for that. Then the comic after that is we're actually in the future. So the scientists are now just brains in jars. And yeah, it's future time. Anyways, as you can see in this level, we start out extremely small. We're literally just eating bacteria. Eventually, we will see that we can now start eating these other bacteria, which are like the long ones that are slowly wiggling around. And they're also going to be robots chasing after us. Yeah, a lot of weird stuff in this world, but I'm not too worried about it. The robot looks so goofy, by the way, as it's chasing after us, waving its arms around. Kind of hilarious. And then once we start eating a robot, we can go for even more of them. Oh, by the way, I guess they're nanobots. Same thing. But yeah, we really are just starting out small. I don't really know what those yellow things that are floating around are. I mean, we will find out eventually. Maybe should have paid more attention in science class so I would know this, but okay, that's pollen. Not really what I ever expected pollen to look like, but I mean, I guess it works. And we get the bigger view again. Now we just see some pineapples. Okay, I know those aren't actually pineapples, but it kind of looks like one without the stem. Same general idea as a lot of this game though. We're just going around until we finally get enough size to actually eat those pineapples. It seems like we're big enough, and there we go. That's actually pollen as well. Okay, interesting. Then how does the bigger pollen and the smaller pollen differentiate? Not exactly sure. But along with those, we got these green goo guys, which we can take too. That's a pretty good amount of size. And we'll finally finish out this level right about there. Pretty good time. Next up, we're on this leaf, and there's a lot of these water droplets that we have to eat. It's kind of hard to control because we're so zoomed out and also so small. So I got to work on that. And then there are also these ants, which for some reason have laser powers. Don't ask me why. In general, for the start, I do want to just get as much water droplets as I can from that area. Before then, we go to the bottom right, and here we can take those rocks along with some more water. After that, I like going through the bottom, taking even more rocks before going to the top left, getting some of those water droplets and also getting some more of these rocks. Finally, we can actually start eating the ants as well, so I no longer have to worry about how they have laser powers. It's kind of insane, but we are now a big enough size to where we can get most of these rocks, we can get most of these ants, and the water droplets are also not a problem. So it's really just about getting enough size until we finally level up. And I think with a few more of these rocks, that should be good. Now we can start really quickly getting these ants, even though they're still shooting at us. But like the humans, they actually walk in straight lines, which is really nice. And soon after that, we can start getting the pebbles. There are plenty of those around the map before also taking up these credit chips, these fusion cells. I don't know why they're leaving all these things on the floor. I don't feel like that's a good idea, but I mean, it's the future. It makes sense. That's exactly what they do. But now, as we level up again, we see there are now mice that have lasers that are coming after us. No matter where in time we go, we can never escape the mice that are trying to eat us. And these ones are even scarier. Why do they have lasers? In the future, does just everything get a laser? Is that what the future holds for us? Oh yeah, there's also these brains in jars. I don't know if those are the scientists or if those are actual people. Probably better not to think about it. And a bit later, we also get these ray guns, which again, people are just leaving out. Are they doing this on purpose? Do they want us to die or something? But no, I guess there are actual people. There are some brains in jars, but people do walk around too. And there's also people on hoverboards, which lucky, I wish I was on a hoverboard. Still, bigger view might be a reused asset from one of the earlier levels because this looks very familiar, just with different stuff on it. We'll be taking all the people and the hoverboards that we can. Might as well also get these scientist brain in jars, which yeah, those were the scientists. Unlucky for them. I mean, to be fair, they weren't really doing anything at all. They were literally just sitting there. But now an even bigger view, and we can really start causing some havoc against all these people. They're just lines of people on their hoverboards. To be fair, I'd probably do that too if I had a hoverboard. Like imagine you and all your friends just going down on your hoverboards, following in a straight line. It would probably be the best time ever. But we also got the future cars that are going through. Honestly, not the greatest design. I'm not the biggest fan of them. Like you could make the future cars a little bit more stylish, but I guess they're effective maybe. And there's also tanks now going after us. Like many things in this game, they do not care if they hit people. They're just solely focused on hitting us. And also, like many things in this game, none of the people are trying to leave. You would think they would have learned by now. Like, they would have been like, hey, in history, there's always this goo thing that pops up, so we should be prepared for that. I mean, I guess they do have a lot of tanks, but they should have noticed earlier. Okay, maybe I'm not giving them enough grace. It's only been 5 minutes in this level, so fair enough. Still, though, we have reached the size where we can just take out all these houses, all the maple trees as well. The buildings are even better. Some of them are bigger than others, though, so we will want to slowly work our way up to the bigger ones. And after consuming enough, that's the level. So we're on to the next level. This one's called Rats versus Cats. So it's going to start out with these rats that are coming after us with their laser guns. Of course they are. Why would they ever stop? But eventually we can start eating them back, so they really shouldn't have antagonized me. Obviously, that will make it easier to eat rats, but now the cats are going to be going after the rats. So they're shooting at each other just constantly. You know, even in the future where everything has laser guns, cats and rats still do not like each other. But that does mean the cats are destroying my prey. I do not appreciate that, so don't worry, I will be coming for you guys soon. And still, this game keeps giving the cats names. Like, that one is Mrs. Boots. I'm so sorry, Mrs. Boots. That one's Miss Marbles. They just love naming these guys, so you feel bad about killing them. Like, why do the laser rats just get the name Laser Rat, but everybody else gets an actual name? It's not fair. Now, next up, we have this tree level where there's a tank coming after us and these trees surrounding all these hoverboards. So what we have to do is actually use the tank to destroy some of the trees. And this is a pretty long process where we just kind of have to wait. That guy's going to come through. We can go around him. He's really not good at rotating, so we can use that to our advantage. And yeah, we'll just keep doing this over and over again. I'm trying to get through him. Also, try not to get hit by him too much because that will lose us some size. And yeah, this is actually a pretty cool level. Finally, though, we will eat enough of these hoverboards to where we can start eating the trees. And now it's just over for this tank guy because thankfully we've left more than enough trees for us to consume as well. We're just gaining so much height and we don't even have to take care of him. We'll just move on. Next level, we're starting out by eating some leaves, and there are these cats, which now they can shoot multiple times in a row. They decided, hey, this guy's getting too powerful. We really got to upgrade our defense games. And these guys are super annoying. Like, they're very good at chasing after you. It's just multiple shots. Meanwhile, I'm just trying to eat some leaves. I'm not doing anything wrong. I wish when we got these ray guns, we'd also get laser powers. That'd be kind of fun. But I guess that'd mean we disintegrate people instead of eating them. So probably not the best thing. In general, just want to get away from the cats as much as possible. Like most things in this game, they're not good at rotating, so we can use that to our advantage. And eventually we will start eating the cats. Of course, they still have their names. I'm so sorry, guys. Like, it's both the sad meows that they make and the fact that they have names. I know I've been talking about this a lot. I just love cats, but not enough to not finish the level. All right, next one is up. This one is all about eating these hover cars, which I didn't actually realize they were hover cars. Is there any real reason for them to be hover cars instead of just regular cars? I guess you could say the same about skateboards. To be fair, you don't have to worry about road conditions, so that could be good. You know what? Let's get some hover cars in this world. Let's just hope we don't also get a scientist-made goo that eats everything, because that would probably ruin our hover car situation. But yeah, it's just one of these levels. We want to eat as many cars as possible while the tanks try to destroy us. Unfortunately, since cars are moving objects, they will get more sparse as we go through, but once we can start eating these laser tanks, it becomes a lot easier. They are thankfully very plentiful and also give us a ton of size. Like, look at these guys. What are they doing? Why are they just all sitting next to that thing? They probably were trying to take a break and not letting their boss notice. They were like, all right, come over here. There's no way he's going to find us. And then a gigantic goo thing comes forward. Maybe if you guys were doing your jobs trying to shoot me, that would never have happened. I'm just saying. But we can start taking on these houses too. Those are nice stationary objects, so very easy to take out. And that's the level. Only a few levels left now, and this one is going to be in the solar system. We're now eating rocks that are flying through space. Don't ask me how we got from tank level all the way to above the earth level, but we are now. This one, pretty simple stuff though. We're just going from the smaller rocks to the bigger ones. They're going to be all throughout the map, and they're coming from the left to the right, so we can also use that to our advantage. Then we'll get this even bigger view. It does become kind of hard to control, like some of these other times, but just focusing on the smaller asteroids. Is that a space station? I'm pretty sure it was. And we have now gotten big enough to the point where it's very easy to take everything out. We can just make a clean sweep through absolutely everything. And yes, those are space stations. We had a lot of those. Now there's also what I think is a UFO chasing after us. All we needed to do to finally get the aliens to contact us was have a goo that literally ate everything. And I guess the aliens were like, hey, we should probably check this out. Otherwise, he's going to eat us too. But once we get to this bigger view, the aliens are just gone. We didn't even get a chance to eat them, kind of sadly. Oh, no, never never mind. There's another one. The other one's disappeared, but these are the even bigger ships. All right, that makes a lot of sense. There's just going to be a couple of lines of rocks. Once we get higher up, there will be even bigger ones, so I will take those. Pretty much just going through in straight lines. Finally, we can actually get those flying saucers too, which was nice. They were shooting at me. They were terrible at their jobs, I'm not going to lie, but it was annoying that they were shooting at me. Before we get this view, and again, very hard to control at this point, but we can see the entire Earth spinning around. I feel like it's spinning a little bit faster than it probably should, but not too much of a problem. And then there are also all these asteroids, which I'm actually protecting the Earth right now, to be fair. Like, look at these asteroids. They're hitting the Earth, probably killing millions of people. I'm eating these asteroids for the Earth. You could call me Earth's defender for like 2 seconds. We're not going to be for very long. The moon is also moving very quickly. Maybe in this world, time is just sped up. That would kind of make sense because that moon is not moving at a 24-hour cycle. I do want to gain up enough size though until we can finally take it. That's going to give us this huge view, and we want to go straight over to the left because we're going to start seeing all these asteroids coming through, and we can just go for them one after the other. Once we get bigger, we don't even have to worry about moving side to side. We can just go in a straight line, also take Mars and the Earth. So there goes us. But we also ate Venus, and now we can see the entire sun and a bunch of asteroids coming towards that. Yeah, these outer space levels just always feel so good getting this big, and we get to see every single planet also moving extremely quickly. I don't think you guys are supposed to do that, but pretty simple stuff. We'll finish out by eating a few meteors. Next up, we're back in space, and in this one, we have these people that are coming against us. This time, they're much better than the flying saucers because they can actually move fast. Still not fast enough to hit us, and they will hit each other. So every time they do, they explode. Kind of feels bad for you guys, but maybe you should be better at your jobs. In general, same idea as last time, just a little bit more combat oriented. I mean, I'll be honest though, guys, you are much worse than the cats. Those laser cats which shot multiple lasers at the same time. Why do you not have that technology? This stuff's kind of weak. Eventually though, we're big enough to start eating the shuttlecrafts, and it's pretty much over for them at this point. They're now trying to run away, but their terrible rotating skills, like usual, aren't coming in helpful. So time for the second to last level, where at this point, we're now literally eating stars. We are up to 480 megameters. I don't even know what a megameter is, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. Okay, I actually do, to be fair. But anyways, we're going to be eating all these stars we can, and there also goes our sun. Sorry about that, man. Thanks for all your years of keeping us warm. Then once we get the even bigger view, you can just see the carnage we're going on through our entire solar system. No star is safe. I mean, I guess some of these red stars are safe for just a little bit, but we'll be coming to you soon too. What did I say? It's time to eat those red giants. A very nice thing about this level is you gain size extremely quickly, but they also zoom you out a lot. So you're going to lose some control just at the beginning each of those times. But after that, you can go back, go towards these red giants, and we are now measuring in astronomical units. Even though we are growing in size, still on the red giants phase, red giants can just get extremely big. But a really nice thing about this level is it's all stationary. I don't have to worry about things moving around, which makes it very easy for me. We can just remember where one of those bigger stars is and make sure we come back to it later. But I spoke too soon, because onto this next one, there's now a black hole which is dragging all these red giants in, and we got to go for them. I guess I didn't really talk too soon because this is still a pretty easy thing to deal with. All we have to do is take a line of these red giants, go back to the middle, and take the next one because surely there are going to be more over there. Eventually, it will be time to take the black hole, and now we're on to the size where we're eating nebulas. Yep, these are a nice and tasty meal for us, and we are just going to keep growing more and more in size, eating bigger and bigger nebulas. Next phase, we'll see some nebulas along with these white things. Not exactly sure what those are, but we'll find out soon enough. Oh, they're star clusters. Okay, that makes sense. And now we're on to the fully star cluster phase. This level just feels so good. You can see how fast we're gaining up size. Like, it's actually an insane rate. We're now on to 282 parsecs. And then we get to this where we're eating galactic matter. Now, this one is kind of hard to control with what you have to do. But basically, we're taking all the ends of this thing first. So we got to focus on making sure we get all of that just going through in lines. Then we can come through a second time, get the ends again. This time, they're going to be a little bit bigger. Before third time around, we can now just eat absolutely everything, which is a very tasty meal for us, and we'll take the middle. So now instead of star clusters, we're eating elliptical galaxies and spiral galaxies. Both of them just floating through space. They probably had no idea this big goo thing would ever come at them, but we are. Then getting even bigger, we're now onto galaxy groups. So entire groups of galaxies and galaxy clusters are getting eaten by a single goo in less than a second. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this is not looking very great for our universe. I don't know what's gonna happen to it. Okay, I do know what's going to happen to it. Obviously, I've speedrun this before. I don't know why I say stuff like that, but that is going to be the level. Now we are on to the very last level, which is also the longest one. So we're gonna start out on the bacteria level, and yeah, just like usual, we'll skip through the parts you've already seen. Now, space is pretty much the exact same as last time until we finally get onto this level where we get super clusters, and we'll get even bigger from there where we just get these gigantic super clusters with a lot of stuff to eat. We're now on to mega parsecs, so yeah, we're doing pretty well for ourselves. And before long, now we are literally eating the fabric of the universe. So we just want to go in a circle until here we see that we're eating the turtle of time. Yeah, I guess in this universe, that's what we stand on, and that's time 2:09:46. But it will give us 5th place on the leaderboards, which I'm proud about. All right, subscribe if you enjoyed. Bye.